Awesome. Welcome to case study number 4 of this series, so brilliantly titled Kirk's 40 Case Study Closings. I'm your host, Brian Kirk, and these case studies range from vacant lots to custom luxury homes and total $2,042,081.71 in profits and equity without having to personally go see the property on some. With no cash, no credit of my own, it varies, and I'll explain. And I do it all with Flip Logic and 1-888 cash offer. Now let's get into number 4 of the 40 case studies. And that brings us to 640 Harding in Redlands, California. This is a really cool property. I think this one will get you guys excited because look at it from the exterior. No landscape, right? The situation on the inside was partially remodeled, so it's an unfinished remodel, mid-remodel. The exact story, I don't know. I don't think they ran out of money. That could have been it. I believe it was an inheritance situation, which it's just kind of funny. It was mid-rehab, and they wanted to liquidate, and they gave us a good price for it. So that's what it came down to. But here's how we found it. Not only unfinished and vacant, but it was off market and it was listed as a for sale by owner. And how you could duplicate originating this lead is you would just go into the instant seller leads in Flip Logic and run a search in your market and do it by owner. And you would have found this one, would have pulled right up. And what you would have noticed is it was listed, or the seller was asking $250,000, right? We determined that since it was, cosmetic rehab, really just needed to be finished. I think it already had new kitchen cabinets. It was missing flooring. It had new mud on the walls, to give it that new fresh texture on your walls there, and it had fresh paint. So we're really just talking finishing a bathroom, finishing the kitchen, appliances, maybe door pulls, I think sink and flooring, and then landscape. So we went with a more middle of the road for this kind of ARV and the finishes. We went with $20 a foot. As you kind of dig into it, lower ARV type markets, you're going to be for middle of the road or lower middle of the road, you're going to be at like $15 a square foot. Us, we're about 25, but this was even a little bit less than that. So we're at $20 a square foot, which came out to $20,000 in repairs. We used the law of reciprocity. We asked the seller, hey, if we pay all cash, paid all the closing costs, and we closed in 14 days, what's the best price you can do for us? And so he had it at $250. He was willing to come down to $220, and so we put it under contract at $220. The ARV supported $343, so obviously this is an excellent price, excellent deal. Just looking at the numbers, and we marketed the property. We did a marketing blast, and you can also duplicate that in Flip Logic by going to instant leads and running a buyer's search, a cash buyer's search, and you can find buyers in that market and then market it. And so we marketed the property at $260, which created about a 10% ROI for the investor, so which is still a great deal for them. So marketing it at about $260, which was also about 80, somewhere, usually it comes out to around 83% of the ARV minus repairs, somewhere in there, but about 10% ROI. So it was a very good sweet spot in this ARV range. And they accepted, they went and buy the property. Well, let's see, they expressed interest that same day. Went by and saw the property, I think that afternoon or the next afternoon, and immediately removed all contingencies and then wired a non-refundable deposit and then closed, on the 14th day of our contract. So awesome, very smooth, easy deal. And since we put it under contract and we assigned it to them, we got to keep dollar for dollar from the purchase price to the assigned amount of 260, which was $40,000. And they not only paid cash, they actually used a hard money loan. I think they ended up using the Norris Group for their hard money and closed on it. So if you look at that profit margin, if you ever wanted to calculate what that is for you in terms of a wholesale profit margin, you would divide that amount into the ARV. And if you were to do that right now, you'd probably notice it gets about 11.6%. So that's what our profit margin was on this deal. Now that is more of an outlier. That's definitely on the high side. You'll hear me mention it. Probably on average, you're looking closer to about a 3% profit margin of the ARV. And you're always trying to shoot for maybe, a good opening offer is 10%, 5% is a good max. And then, you can always come up to maybe, about 3%. For a 3% profit margin, or you just look at the dollars. Maybe you want to you'll go so thin as maybe a $5,000 profit margin, or even $3,000 or $2,500. So you can get as thin and as calculated as you want when you use Flip Logic. That's the cool thing about it. So this was obviously a home run, a lot of money on such a small deal, and I think you would probably be surprised to find that the rehabber who did the deal, I think he probably, his net was about the same as ours. So that's the cool thing about wholesaling. It's about what the market will pay. For an ROI, obviously they like to get as best a deal as possible, but that's a good market moving average is maybe about a 10% ROI. Again, it varies depending on how heavy the rehab is and how high or low the ARV is. So in this case, that was that. They don't know how much we're going to make until after they've already wired their non-refundable deposit. They got to pay to play, in other words, to know what we have it under contract for, because they will eventually find out what that is on the HUD. But it's no hard feelings. We did an excellent job of sourcing the deal and negotiating it, and then obviously marketing it. So that's what Flip Logic helps you do, and very excited that it gets to be in your hands as well. So that's that on this. So statistically, only 10% of YouTube videos are watched until the end. If you're in that 10%, you're a hustler, persistent, determined to succeed, and I honestly wish you much success. So thanks for watching. I look forward to working with you.